What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we have some exciting and good news. I'm sure you guys have seen the title already, so you know what it's going to be about. You guys know I'm a big, huge AMG fan. I don't own AMG V8s at the moment. We do, however, have an Audi V8 twin turbo, which has a lot of the same characteristics as the AMG V8s. So before we hop in to today's upload, I figured we'd do a quick little comparison of the sounds. Not that they're really comparable, but the R7 hasn't gotten much love lately. And one of the reasons for that is because I can't get the fuel door open. So I have like 55 miles till empty. This is somewhat of a common Audi problem, to my understanding. And there's like a latch in there that kind of goes like this when you lock it, and then it's supposed to unlock so you can get this part open, and it's stuck in the lock position. And I try to get it up and get in here and stuff, and I obviously happen to rip off the whole fuel door itself. And I know there is like an emergency latch in there somewhere. I haven't been able to find it. I haven't really looked that hard either. I just know that that needs to be fixed. So I haven't driven it much, but we're going to drive it today. Hopefully we don't run out of gas. And we're going to come home, we'll drive the S65 and then get into the good news in today's video. Because I think Mercedes-AMG is coming to their senses. Ford Focus. Oh yeah, man, I love this car. It is such a different beast than the S65. And that 4-liter bi-turbo V8 with this frequency intelligent straight pipe exhaust sounds so good. So in lieu of an AMG V8 bi-turbo, the 4-liter that is in the AMG, this engine is a 4-liter twin turbo V8 as well, and they actually sound pretty similar. They got I would have to say like it's a specific German V8 twin turbo V8 exhaust note that you know, I would say like the AMG and the Audi and also the BMW V8s that are twin turbo. Not saying that they sound exactly the same, but they share a certain like sound characteristic. So since I have frequency intelligent exhaust on both the S65 and the R7, I figured we'd do a quick little, you know, sound comparison at least. You know, they are different engines. From different manufacturers, but this engine seems to shine more at higher RPMs versus the S65, who sounds better when it's just like puffing around at lower RPMs. But this car is just such a beast. It's so aggressive, it would completely spank the AMG in like a drag race. The R7 also has launch control, which the S65 does not, and S63 does, but S65 is just, it's more sophisticated power. It's not as aggressive as an R7. I mean, it's so quick. It just grips. Now, obviously, that is because it has all-wheel drive. S65, again, does not. Oh, wow, someone did a massive burnout here. It was not me. Dang. But you know, this car just hasn't gotten a lot of love lately, so let's give it some love. We got 35 miles till empty. We're about 20 miles from home. So we're gonna drive home and we're gonna switch and hop in the S65. All right, so we're in the S65, newly straight piped. We think it's one of the only ones in the world, at least that I know of. I'm not trying to like come with false statements here, but I've never seen one or heard one. Now, this is GoPro audio, never does full justice, and it's an S-Class, well insulated, but you still hear that V12 sound that you'll hear a lot more from the outside of the car. But the downshift, this car sounds like an angry cat, like a tiger or something like that. Just, I don't know, like I can't describe it. It's so different. And just the driving characteristics versus the RS7, this thing gets into its peak when you get up in speeds. It's not some 0 to 60, you know, beast or anything like that, like the RS7 is. And when you get up to higher speeds, like triple digits and so on, you almost feel like, you know, that's where the car wants to be, because it just feels like you're driving 40 miles an hour. It's so smooth and just built for the Autobahn, you can tell. Yeah, so I just filmed the whole segment like we did with the RS7, but this camera that you guys are watching from now wasn't on. I thought it was, but the exterior camera was. So basically what I was saying was, and I've mentioned this before, is that this engine, it doesn't really like scream at higher RPMs. It's at lower RPMs, and when it's just like puffing around in traffic where it sounds the best. But we'll do a little flyby here again. I mean, it sounds great, and it's not that it's not loud, but it's not like this screaming sound. Like the RS7 just gets louder and louder the higher the RPMs goes. This one doesn't really seem to do that. It just seems like it's not really the personality of the engine. Oh, shredding tire. But the downshifts though, I mean, what other car sounds like this at downshifts? Again, angry tiger or cat or something. Now, if you didn't watch the previous video where we did the exhaust install, you might not have heard it, but it sounds phenomenal. With the valves open. Now I can push this button right here. And it becomes completely quiet. Now obviously we get this remote from FI as well. Can open it that way. And then it's loud again. So this system is just absolutely awesome. And I feel so blessed to be able to have a V12 AMG. This is like, for me, the pinnacle, the ultimate AMG that you can get, specifically when it comes to the sound and the exoticness, because it's a V12 and they don't make them like this anymore. Unless you buy a Maybach S680, I think it's called. And you can't, there's not many of those to even buy, and they're extremely expensive, and you're not even supposed to drive a Maybach. You get driven in one of those. So this is like the ultimate driving AMG, in my opinion, unless you want to do like heavy track driving in like a GTR or something like that. But this is just, I love it. So with that being said, it's the perfect segment to talk about the topic in today's video. It's actually good news. About 4 years ago, if you guys remember, I made a video when AMG had just announced that the new generation C63 is going to have not an 8-cylinder like it's always had, not a 6-cylinder, but a 4-cylinder. So they were going from a 8-cylinder to a 4-cylinder. No in between. Nothing like that, just complete sacrilege. And I mean, since then, the whole AMG community has been pretty much up in arms. They haven't been happy. It's not just me bitching and whining on the internet. It's pretty much everyone who's ever owned a C63. No one is saying like, oh yay, great! A 4-cylinder with hybrid technology that's just, it's gonna be faster. No one's saying that. No one. Find me one person that was happy about that. So they were gonna put a 4-cylinder and add hybrid technology. So obviously it's incredibly fast. And for the first time also, the C63 was gonna have the 4MATIC system. So it's gonna be all-wheel drive. So 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. This car is now out on the market, and it's very fast. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so if you think it looks good, I mean, yeah, great. It looks good from the front, in my opinion. It doesn't really look that great from the rear, but that doesn't really matter. It's about the power plant. If you're an AMG guy, you know, you understand that a V8 is part of a real AMG's DNA. You gotta have that grunty, typical AMG sound. It is a German version of a muscle. It is the German version of a muscle car. It just is. So the American cars obviously have, you know, a Mustang, they have Challengers, all that stuff. And it's just a great concept because it's still a Mercedes. So you get all the luxury features, all the great stuff of a Mercedes, plus you have this ginormous power plant under the hood, and it sounds great. First, when the real C63 came out, it had the M156. It was an NA V8. So it just screamed. It was a pure muscle car. The next generation, W205, most of you guys already know this, but just quick little recap, came out with the 4-liter bi-turbo V8. Some were pissed about that. It doesn't sound as good as the NA, but at least we had a V8, and it was very tunable. You guys remember the two that I had? They were just phenomenal. Now, if you're, let's say you're a Mopar lover or something like that, can you even imagine putting a 4-cylinder in a Hellcat? That's basically what AMG did with the C63. They went from an 8-cylinder to a 4-cylinder. And again, I'm not comparing the two cars like they're exactly the same, no. But Mopar owners, like just muscle car owners in general, they're used to having V8s. You don't go to a 4-cylinder and like try to justify it by like, oh yeah, we're putting 19 turbos and a bunch of hybrid technology, whatever. To give it all this power, it's gonna be faster than the older one. Like, we don't care. I mean, obviously we care about performance, but just because you put a 4-cylinder in there with hybrid technology, it's faster than the old. We don't care about that. We just don't. Put the hybrid technology in the V8 instead. Do that. That'd be great. But no, they didn't want to do that until now. And I'm not saying it's because of my, you know, video that I made 4 years ago. I think it's the AMG community in general. Big automotive publications have recently come out, Car and Driver, Jalopnik, and so on, with news that AMG for 2026 is bringing back the V8 to the C63. Now also they're bringing it back to the E63, which for the next generation is going to have an inline 6 instead of the 4-liter bi-turbo V8. So it's extremely weird what AMG is doing here. I mean, it's great, it's good news, but it's weird that they went from an 8-cylinder to a 4-cylinder and now back to an 8-cylinder. Maybe they're adding the 8-cylinder as an option for, you know, us, the pissed off AMG owners, and then they're keeping the 4-cylinder for whatever idiots who want a C63 with a 4-cylinder when there's a V8 option. Like, I don't know what they're thinking. If they're smart from a marketing standpoint, they're probably gonna say, oh, that was our plan all along, to come back to the V8 and just have a 4-cylinder and an 8-cylinder option. But I don't think that's the case. 4 years ago in my video, I had just traded in my C63 when I learned of the news that they were gonna put a 4-cylinder in it, and I traded in for the Ferrari. But I mean, I was pissed because I want another C63 in the future, but I definitely would not be getting one with a freaking 4-cylinder. I don't care how fast it is. I don't care how much tech it has, how good looking it is. I don't want a C63 that sounds like a CLA 45 AMG. I mean, like, who wants that? No one. But now it seems like AMG obviously understands its mistake. They f***ed up going straight to a 4-cylinder. But again, in AMG's defense, I don't think that, you know, Mercedes-AMG sits around and they're like, oh, we don't like V8s anymore. It's obviously pressure from governments and emission standards and stuff like that, where they have to act and do something. But again, why did they go straight from an 8-cylinder to a 4-cylinder? There was no like in between. I'm not saying that a 6-cylinder would have been great either, but it was just such a big like jump, a gap. That is the most awful thing you can do to muscle car heritage. No, still a muscle car, even though it has a 4-cylinder with our hybrid technology. Like, no one on planet Earth, if you're a car guy or a muscle car lover or whatever, no one sits and was like, oh yeah, well, okay. Like, no one thinks that, no one. So they f***ed up. AMG f***ed up when they went from an 8-cylinder to a 4-cylinder. So to speed this up a little bit, the 4-liter V8 that AMG now has been using for like the whole pretty much range, the new S63 has a 4-liter V8 with hybrid technology, and it makes almost 800 horsepower. The GT63 SE has, forget the exact numbers, but I think it's about 830 horsepower in the 4-liter bi-turbo with hybrid technology, which obviously AMG is going to be using for the C63. Hopefully that actually comes to fruition. From what I read is that they're obviously working on tweaking the engine so it passes emissions standards with still being a V8. And I understand that can probably be tricky, but it is phenomenal that they're finally doing it. They should have just done it from the beginning. That was my opinion 4 years ago when I made that video. Like, why are you putting in a stupid ass 4-cylinder? But it's still in a 4-cylinder. Again, why not make it with an 8-cylinder with hybrid technology? Why does it have to be a 4-cylinder when you can just take that 4-liter and put hybrid technology on that? Now granted, it's probably going to be heavy as hell, but at least we have a V8. AMGs have never been known to be like little nimble track cars anyhow, unless you're getting like a GTR with massive aero and so on. It's more of a muscle car, it just is. Rear-wheel drive and just shredding tires, that's what we love. That's what the car is. And AMG is finally doing that, hopefully for 2026. So we'll just have to wait and see if they're gonna keep the 4-cylinder, and also add 8-cylinder, or if they're just gonna scrap that whole 4-cylinder idea to begin with. Put that 4-cylinder in the CLA and make it like the quickest little mini AMG. I mean, can you imagine putting that in the CLA? That would be sick. Because now that engine is making way over 600 horsepower. And I'm thinking when the C63 comes back with the V8 and they have the hybrid technology 8-cylinder, it's probably going to be around 700 horsepower. Maybe right over 710, something like that. It's going to be a monster stock. Because if it's almost making 800 in the big S-Class, it's definitely going to be over 700 in the C-Class. And I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And I'm happy that, you know, as an AMG lover, I mean, this is my 5th AMG now. AMG has been like the main brand on my channel that has built my channel. It's not R8s and Ferraris and stuff. It's AMG. C63s in particular. AMG is bringing back the V8, even for the E63, which is, I mean, that's just a no-brainer. Of course, an E63 should have a freaking V8. It's crazy. BMW is rumored for their new M5 that it's going to have a V8 with hybrid technology as well, and it's just, yeah. I mean, the AMG has to compete. You can't inline six. What are you, stupid? Again, though, with that being said, the new RS7 is supposed to have an inline 6 and go from V8. So I don't know what they're thinking there, but yeah, we need V8s in these type of cars because it's part of a DNA lineage. You just don't go down to a 4-cylinder. It's just you don't do that. It's sacrilege. Dumbest decision AMG has ever made. And if you're some car reviewer out there and you're reviewing that car and you try to make it sound like it's okay for this, you're not an AMG lover. You never were, and I don't know, you're paid for it, dude. I'm telling you, there cannot be a 4-cylinder in a C63, but thank God that AMG is finally bringing it back. So with that rant being over, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm pretty sure that most of you guys agree with me, at least the people on my channel. But let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for stopping by once again. If it was your first time and you haven't already and you want to, please subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. it.